Hi everyone, and welcome to the Scorpio July 2021 Spiritual Connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Welcome. So in this Spiritual Connection reading, we are going to be taking a look at your unique internal self and how it is engaging with your external environment. Basically looking at areas of free will and areas of your spiritual connection to destiny in the external environment. Now, this is one of 3 readings that I do each month for each sign. This is our spiritual connection reading. I also do a self-connection reading, which takes a look at bringing awareness to your personal, unique, internal, authentic self. And there's a love connection reading where we take a look at how you are connecting that unique internal authentic self with the unique internal authentic selves of others. And that can kind of bridge a grander topic of love, where we take a look at either romantic relationships, if that's where the message comes up, or looking more at just you and connections between others and through the energy of love. All right, so let's jump right into your reading here, Scorpio. So this reading is going to, as all my readings do, engage the Triad of Engagement, which is focusing on the 3 principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and to show you how by really tapping into the energies of those 3 basic principles, you can unlock awareness about yourself and about where you fit into the greater collective experience through engaging your unique internal authentic self with your external environment. And this is all in an effort to help you answer your very own I am question. So if you notice in my description box, I state I am a spiritual counselor. I can also state that I am a mother. And these are aspects of myself that I relate to, that help me find my place and purpose and help bring emotional fulfillment to me. And so all of my readings are here to help you do the same, to start your journey so that you can confidently state I am and get to fill in the blank. All right, Scorpio. So we're going to start with a card for your energy. We're going to take a look at what you are currently sitting with right now. So what are my lovely Scorpios sitting with as far as energy here? What are my Scorpios sitting with? And the timing, yes, I do state that this is for July 2021, but timing can often be when we're working with energy. This doesn't have to be specific to right now. This might be discussing something that you're currently going through. It could be something that you've actually already started the process of going through, or that you will be going through in the future. So kind of take this message as a little bit more broad than just the last 2 weeks here of July. All right, Scorpio, so you have, what a wonderful card to have for your energy right now. The Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is the beautiful connection. This is your true connection to spirit, where you get that touch of that spark of inspiration from the divine. For me, I look at the Ace of Wands as our eternal flame. It's really where I feel our connection to spirit, that this is our soul. This is the seat of our passion, the seat of our uniqueness. And it's almost like being given a gift of a magic wand from the universe. We're each given our own, kind of like in Harry Potter, where no 2 people have the same wand with the same magic abilities. And so this is something to kind of keep in mind as we move through this reading, that you are a true, unique individual, and your touch with the divine is different than anybody else's touch with the divine. Now, when I'm looking at this energy right now with what you're sitting with, this is you sitting with true inspiration, you sitting with your internal spark, you looking to see what you can do with this. Now this can actually, depending on what's going on in your life, this can actually represent conception. This can represent pregnancy. So when we think of the conception of an idea, it is the same as the conception of a person, that these things kind of come to be and then they get to grow within us. And so you guys are kind of at this start. You're going back to square one to work with your unique internal flame. And it's beautiful, especially if you're a little later in life, where sometimes we forget about this. It gets so overwhelmed by everything else that goes on in our life that we forget sometimes that we just need to go back to us in our purest form. So that's really what I'm getting with your energy right here. And we're going to now pull a card to see what is coming out, what the energy of your external environment is, and really taking a look at what Spirit is asking you to kind of engage right now. Engage this energy with your external environment, and why. What are you going to be able to see and experience about your place and purpose? And what is the greater collective experience going to be able to benefit from you bringing this forward? All right, so let's see. What is Scorpio's external environment? What's the energy? What are they going to learn about themselves? Now, when I look at your internal energy here on this side, this is really where we play with the concept of free will. This is where we get a chance to take action, to be able to have an element of control in our life experience. Now, out here in our external environment, we rarely get to have that level of control, because control of anything beyond ourselves is really an illusion. It's us realizing that the one constant in our external environment is change. And we really can't control change. We can't control the circumstances that come into us, and we can't control the people and the reactions of the people that we also connect with in our external environment. So this is really our seat of free will and personal control. And when we bring that into engagement with our external environment, this is where we get a chance to bring our free will into engagement with destiny, into engagement with what Spirit has planned for us, and really where we as a unique puzzle piece get a chance to see where we fit into the greater collective experience. So for your external environment, we have the Magician. And the Magician is a really awesome card too, and I think it's really interesting here. If you can see this, I know these cards are super tiny. They fit in my hands very well though, I appreciate that. It looks almost like the Magician is holding the Ace of Wands. There's this element here, this connectivity of really, I think what is going on here for you guys is that you're meant to kind of be going back, stripping yourself down on a level of passion and action, and getting a good idea of who you are. What is really at the core of you as a unique individual? If you could literally, and I love, like, when we're trying to work with passion, this is one of those things where it's like being asked that question of, if you won the lottery and could do anything or be anyone, what would you do or be? And it's kind of getting back to that purest form of yourself, where it's like, if no one was looking, or if nobody cared, what would you want to do? And that's really where you're kind of sitting right now. And I think what Spirit is trying to ask you to do is to bring this stripped down version of yourself out into engagement, because this is where you're going to get a chance to see what you're capable of with it. This is where you're actually going to get a chance to play with this magic wand. And the Magician is the number 1 in the major arcana. So this is the start of our journey. This is when we realize that we have the ability to work with all aspects. So on his table, he has the sword, which is our thoughts. He has the cup, which are his emotions. He has pentacles, which is working with the tangible. And then he has a wand, which is working with our passions and actions and desires. And he's able to hold up this flame that is actually burning on both ends to connect directly to spirit, to source. And he's being able to pull that down to be able to utilize and start to work with everything here. This is the alchemist. And this is also, but again, it's starting energy. This is where we start to reconnect with the realization that we can manifest in our external environment truly what we would like. But it has to start with this spark. It has to start with the recognition and awareness of your unique wand. And the only way you're going to be able to see what that wand can really do and what it's capable of is by bringing it into your external environment and working with spirit and confidence to see what it can do. Now I'm going to pull some additional cards here for what I call the void. And the void is what we create as we go from childhood into adulthood to protect our unique internal vulnerable self from the negative reactions of our external environment. So the void is what we create each time we try to bring out a unique part of ourselves and it gets criticized or it fails. So we try to work with an aspect of our wand, let's say, and we blow something up instead of gently lighting something on fire. And instead of us going back and saying, whoa, like, let me use this as a training, as a learning point and work with this one, we tend to hide it. So we put a barrier between our external environment and our wand, or our external environment and our hope or dream that got made fun of, or a barrier between our external environment and a ability of ours. And what happens is that we end up creating this void where we are no longer connecting authentically with our external environment. We are simply going through the motions, and we don't feel any emotional or spiritual connection because we're not engaging the parts of ourselves that make us unique and special. We instead are hiding those. And this is where fear, frustration, and anxiety build. And it's what prevents us from being, this is where we get frustrated when we're hiding ourselves like this, and we're like, well, how come my external environment doesn't represent what I want to manifest? How come I am not seen for the person I know I am? And that's because you created this barrier. And the people in your external environment cannot see you for who you are, nor can you connect with where destiny's kind of calling you. So I'm going to pull some cards here to see what fear points and challenges you are facing as you are being asked to bring out this vulnerable part of yourself into the external environment. So let's see here. What are my Scorpios? What is their challenge? Ooh. Okay, I usually don't take all these cards, but we will take them. Okay. All right, Scorpios. So this is actually a theme that's been coming up quite a lot this month. And I think that this is a month I know this is a month of reflection for a lot of us. It's Cancer season, and that can bring up a lot of emotional turmoil or just emotional reflection. And the Seven of Cups is exactly that. This is a card of our emotions, and it's a card of really the illusion that there is a magic emotional fulfillment cup out external from us that we can choose that will end up bringing to us this emotional fulfillment that we don't feel from within. And it's a card, as you can see, that can lead to this kind of stressful, there's almost like the thought of, well, what if I choose the wrong cup? It makes me think of the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they're all, they're choosing to drink from the cups, trying to find the Holy Grail, and the one guy chooses the wrong cup, and the person says, "You chose unwisely." It's almost like that kind of sentiment here, that there gets to be the stress of what if I choose wrong for myself? What if this was actually the cup that was supposed to be for me? What if this was the cup that was actually going to make me feel emotionally fulfilled? And where that illusion comes into play is that this is an illusion. The cup that we hold for emotional fulfillment lies within us. It lies in the same place as our Ace of Wands. And when we think of the magician, again, he has the one cup. He has the one wand, the one sword, and the one pentacle. And what these represent is the sword is his sword of truth. The wand is his specific magic wand of passion. The cup is his connection. It's his cup that is always full from the divine. It's always what will make him feel emotionally fulfilled as he taps back into his connection with spirit. And the pentacle is the seed that he can plant and manifest what is right for him. But there's only one of each. And so to look at 7, now 7 is also, for me, the 7s in the tarot are a time of pause. It's a momentary time of reflection for you to connect with spirit, to be able to help answer a question around this, whatever specific area or aspect the 7 is representing. So that you can check back in and say, is it worth it for me to continue in this area, or is it worth it for me to make this decision? And so there's this element here too of kind of making a decision and utilizing your connection to spirit to be able to clear away kind of this illusion of all of these options, to say, okay, what is really in my cup? And I think that this is your kind of fear point and your challenge, because directly next to that is the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands, well, what is she holding? She's holding the wand. She's holding your wand. And the Queen of Wands is this beautiful energy of being in a dynamic feminine role where you get to work with your passions. In fact, there's almost an element of magic around the Queen of Wands. In the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, she is shown as sitting on her throne with a black cat at her feet. And there is this element of kind of this magic that she can, and behind her are sunflowers growing in the desert. And so there's this component of that she can grow what she wants, where she wants. She has this element of support on a magic level from the universe in the shape of the cat, and that she's always being able to work with her, from her place of passion, and utilize her magic wand to create what she wants. The Queen of Wands is not going to take action on things that she doesn't want to actually make happen. And so this is kind of the block right here. Is there's this element of thinking that of getting kind of confused with working with your passions and wanting emotional fulfillment, but not understanding that emotional fulfillment comes from working with your passion. It's not going to come from choosing one of these options. It's going to come from you taking your magic wand out into the external environment and basically creating your emotional fulfillment. It's not an external choice. Now we get to the 9 of Wands here, and the 9 of Wands is kind of your turning point card here. The Nine of Wands is the card of the wounded warrior. It is the card of, I have come this far. So if you think about it, going from the Ace of Wands to the Nine of Wands, there's been 8 steps in between this initial beautiful spark of, oh my gosh, this is amazing, to now you've gotten to the point where you're like, oh God, I've taken all this action and I've worked with this passion, and I'm tired of fighting for this. I'm tired of trying to take action based around something that maybe I have to keep defending. Or maybe it just doesn't seem to, I'm here, I'm still standing, and I've got my 8 wands behind me, my 1 wand in my hand still, and I can prove all of what I can do from working with my place of passion, from utilizing, from taking action. But where we end up having an issue here is where this is where we stop. And instead of looking at all of the 8 wands behind us and seeing, wow, look how far we've come, and taking personal pride in that. You notice that there's a lion behind him here. And this represents that pride, that yes, you have come this far. And looking behind you, it's always that element of, sometimes we don't give ourselves the credit. We don't give ourselves the credit of how far we've come, because a lot of times, we're just making day-to-day choices. And instead of being able to stop and kind of step back a little bit from the day-to-day and to look at it and say, oh my gosh, I have really, 4 years ago, I was here and now I'm here. Holy cow, like that's amazing. And I'm still holding my wand. Even though I might not have everything I want, I can at least say I've taken action. And that's really where there's this element of, in order for you to step into the energy of the Queen of Wands, you have to move through this energy of the Nine of Wands. You have to reflect and give yourself that credit for how far you've come. And the first step to that is getting past this illusion that something beyond yourself, either that you've chosen the wrong cup and that you're regretting your choice, or that, and yes, that's actually what I'm hearing. I'm just hearing from right now. It's like an intuitive download. Yes, that's exactly what a lot of you are sitting with, that you feel you've chosen the wrong cup, and that can't happen. This is not the last scene from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It's not about choosing one cup and you're stuck with it. It's that you have felt disappointed from something you've chosen to do. Now, we all can have that. We can all, not that we stray off our path, it's that we choose to just make it a little bit harder. We chose option 1 instead of option 2, but it doesn't mean that that's taken us away from our path. It just means that we've learned a different lesson. And what you guys are here to learn from, coming from a place of, and normally I don't get the feeling of regret here, but that's what's coming through in this card for me, for you specifically here in this placement, is that there's this element of, I chose the wrong cup. Now I'm never gonna get to feel emotional fulfillment. And that's not true, because again, emotional fulfillment comes from within. It's the gift that is tied directly to your Ace of Wands as well. You get the Ace of Cups. So there's something within you that you need to reconnect with that, to move beyond this, to realize, no, you've come so far. In fact, where you're feeling regret and thinking that you've failed or that you'll never get emotional fulfillment is actually the very thing that most people would admire you for. That most people, if they heard your story, would say, oh my gosh, really? That's what you went through? Wow, good for you. But I'm glad to see that you're still working with who you are. Because then on the other side of this, we have the Five of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles. And it's interesting. It's almost like going a little bit back. And I think I kind of got this in one of your other readings as well, where there's this element of almost like restarting, but restarting from a place that's authentic to you, not to everybody else. It's almost like releasing ties to what you felt you needed to have, and now it's like you're tapping back into your own personal magic of like, oh yeah, that's who I am. Screw everybody else. Now the Five of Pentacles is a card of poverty mindset. It's a card of lack. It's a card of, if I do this, then I'm going to be out in the cold by myself. That I'm not going to have enough in my life, because the Pentacles are about tangible things. This can be in a financial sense. It can be in a living environment sense. This can be anything that ties directly to you feeling like in your tangible life you will have less than. And then it's followed directly by the Four of Pentacles, where we're going one step back instead of one step forward. And the Four of Pentacles is, now it can be a card showing stagnation in forward movement in your physical, meaning that this is kind of where you're just sitting, holding on to your resources, holding on to your time, holding on to your money, and not wanting to make an investment because you're afraid that it'll lead to this. But what I'm seeing instead here is actually the reverse. So this is kind of like you've already been through the Five of Pentacles. And that's where I'm kind of getting this tie of the Nine of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. You've been through already a place where you felt like you were left out in the cold. You've been to this place where you did experience a loss or a lack. You might have invested in something, and whether it was a person or a business or an idea or a dream, and it didn't quite turn out the way that you wanted. And now you have this beautiful opportunity to go back to stability. Because the other thing about the Four of Pentacles is that it also represents a stable foundation. It is the four pillars. So there's this element of going back to stability in your physical life, and really being able now to start from this place of stability. And so it's almost like this lesson of saying, okay, I chose the wrong cup, but you didn't really. I made a choice. It didn't come out the way that I wanted. I have, and I should be proud of, I took action. I took action from a place of passion. And yes, it maybe took me to a place that made me feel less than, or led to lack in some aspect of my physical experience of life. But now I'm back to being stable. I'm back to being in a place where I get to make the choice where I want to invest. I get to make the choice where I want to put my time and energy. And if you can really step into the strength instead of the kind of negative energy of the Four of Pentacles, instead of hanging on for dear life to what little you have and staying stuck, instead going back to this place of, damn, if I made it this far, I can do it again. I can try again. I'm not going to give up on my dream, my ability, my passion. I'm not going to let whatever happened here and here rob me of my spirit, rob me of my fighting spirit. And I'm going to come out and I'm going to re-engage as the magician in the external environment. I'm going to meet destiny head on again and say, you know what? I'm the Queen of Wands. Here's my wand. Okay, Spirit, strike me with lightning and show me what to do with it. I'm ready. I'm ready to go from this stable place, this jumping point, and I'm ready to work with you. I'm ready to go from this place forward. All right, Scorpio, such a strong message here. I'm I'm going to pull a card now for down here. I'm going to pull a card for curiosity, courage, and contemplation. So a card for each of the principles of the Triad of Engagement to kind of help better show how to navigate across this fear point, to really step into this energy of Queen of Wands and how to navigate from, connecting your internal self with your external environment. So let's get an idea here of what the energy around curiosity is for you. Okay, so we're going to take this card here. Hostilities, number 26. Now, when we're thinking about curiosity, we're working with the concept of openness, receptivity to your external environment. What are you being curious about? And I'm getting this right off the bat that what this card is showing me is that you need to be curious. So curiosity is what helps us build a bridge. So if you think about this as the void, this is the void you've created that's around fear and anxiety and I failed and I chose the wrong cup. But now we're going to take curiosity and we're going to build that bridge optimistically to re-engage ourselves, the best version of ourselves again, the most vulnerable versions of ourselves again with our external environment. And so what it's showing me here is that you've been too afraid to be curious. There's an element here of you're ready to do battle. It really represents to me, and this card actually always I kind of tie into the Nine of Wands. It's almost like, even though he doesn't look like the battered warrior, he looks like he's like, oh, I gotta hold this sword, I gotta protect this area, and I'm just, every person that comes down here I have to be wary of. And there's this component here, Scorpio, where perhaps you felt like you've been in this place for a long time of like, I have to have my guard up. I have to protect what little I have, what little I've been left with after kind of going through this really difficult period. And even though I'm not emotionally connected and I feel like I might have failed in what I chose here, I have to just keep fighting. I just have to keep being this wounded warrior instead of stopping and saying, actually, let me be curious. Do I really have to fight everybody? Do I really have to keep defending my choices? Or can I just start taking action from a place where I feel like I'm this magic queen? And so I think for your point of curiosity, to help you build this bridge of optimism, it's about releasing this energy of I'm going to share my passion, but I'm also gonna, like, if you get near it, if you hurt me again, if you touch my magic wand, I'm gonna strike you down. If you get close to seeing who I really am, I'm gonna strike you down. If you get close to really examining my choices, I'm going to strike you down because I'm just tired of defending. I'm just gonna go straight for it and just get you. And so this is where you got to kind of turn your perspective around. Change starts here with curiosity. Curiosity is really tapping back into that childlike sense of awe and wonder again, not the hostile, been there, done that, the world's a scary, dangerous place, and I don't want to bring myself out into it. Instead, we have to reverse that. So now I'm going to pull a card for courage. And courage is really where we have our seat of personal power. Courage is where we get a chance to make the decisions on our own behalf, to take action in an authentic way. This is where our free will comes into play. And it takes action. It takes courage. Every action we choose to take takes courage, because we don't have to take action. We can sit over here and hide from our external environment. Destiny can call our name all it wants. It can have all the opportunities waiting for us on the other side. But if we choose not to to take action, to have the courage to walk across the bridge, to be curious as to what's waiting for us on the other side, well, then we'll never engage with destiny. And that's where the free will comes into play here. So let's see. What does Scorpio need to know about the courage to take action? What do my Scorpios need to know? So the other point about, I feel like this card is coming out for everybody. Everybody needs a hug this Cancer season. Oh my goodness. But Scorpio, this is so important to what's here. It says, surrender to receiving support and love. Allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. And I think it goes hand in hand with this. It's let others in. You can put down the sword. You already know what you're capable of. You can already give yourself the kudos for how far you've come. And no, you don't have to worry that somebody might think that you've made there's almost this element of like people discovering that you've made the wrong choice. And that it doesn't matter this is not about caring about what the external world thinks. It's also about you just not sitting in a place of regret, causing yourself more anguish and anxiety that you chose incorrectly, when in reality, you can create anything for yourself. And when you're choosing to have courage to take action, come from a place of openness. Now, when we talk about courage, where curiosity, we're tapping into awe and wonder towards life again. Courage, you're tapping into faith. Faith that when you bring this part of yourself back out into engagement with the external environment, you won't be hurt again like you were before. That you have the lessons learned, and that you now know how you can actually work with your external environment. You've learned, you've grown, and you're able to step into this you're able to be the magician with the wand. I think sometimes what happens in our lives, and I know I've felt this way myself, at different points in my life, not just once, but at different points in my life, where you feel like you're taking action and you feel like you have this part of yourself, this spark, this passion, this unique ability, and you work with it, but you don't quite ever you feel like it has control over you more than you have control over it. You don't feel like the queen brandishing her magic wand. You feel more like this little child with a wand that's, again, going to blow something up. And so there's this quality of not feeling like you fully deserve to step into this role of queen. That you constantly kind of focus on or keep relating to this past version of self, that now you've grown past that point. And you're no longer this kind of awkward, I don't know what to do with this, it's beyond my control. What Spirit is trying to tell you here now is that no, you are the queen. You have made it. There's an element of mastery with your passion, with your wand. And now that you're back to a place of stability, it's time to invest the time and the energy to go back out and work with it again. But from a place of faith and spirit, faith that this has a greater purpose, and that you're going to see it, and that in going out here, you're going to realize, oh yeah, emotional fulfillment's always it has always been within, and it is always based on what I do with this. It has nothing to do with choosing one option or another. All right. So Scorpio, now we're going to choose a final card here for contemplation. And contemplation is the final principle in the Triad of Engagement, and it's a very important one because this is where we get a chance to work with reflection and meditation, but it's also where we get to connect the dots between where we chose to take action and the consequences that ensued from us choosing to take action to engage with our external environment. And this is where we get a chance to say, okay, so this is what happened. Now, what can I learn? This is our ticket back across the bridge that we've built with curiosity. This is where we get a chance to bring what we've experienced in our external environment back to our internal environment and be able to self-evaluate, to say, okay, I'm going to course correct a little bit. So I tried with my wand, I blew something up, wasn't quite what I was expecting, but I know now that if I tilt my wand a little bit like this, I can just beautifully light a flame instead of blowing up the bush or whatever. And I'm not going to hide, I'm going to learn. This is where we get a chance to really avoid getting stuck in repeat patterns. This is the seat of growth of our own spiritual and emotional evolution. This is where we take a look at maybe a failed relationship and we bring it back to us and we say, well, why did that fail? What part did I have to play in that? And where will I choose not to do that again? Or if I'm, going from one job to another and it's not working out every time and I'm seeing that it's the same issue, well, then I need to bring it back to myself and say, okay, what am I bringing to that situation that needs to change? Because the one constant between all the jobs I've had is me. So where do I need to change my perspective? And this allows us to grow as an individual. This is where we get to change. This is also where we get to control what we experience. Okay, so for contemplation, we have the initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold, and we have get grounded. And it says empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. And I think these are two really great cards together here. So there's this element of this card is very beautiful. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's this element of going from the darkness of where it's been really kind of rocky and, there's lightning. And then you're moving into and beyond that into this beautiful kind of ethereal world. And it looks almost like there's a magic treasure chest here. And so what I'm feeling for you guys is, especially for contemplation, is to really take a look at, again, how far you've come and perhaps through the darkness. And now coming out as the Queen of Wands into a magic land. And I think sometimes what we don't realize, especially when we're just kind of keeping our head down and going through like one difficult circumstance after another, is that we are going through this initiation. We're going through a learning period. It is like, and I know this is a cliche, overly used analogy, but there is this element of, being through pressure, becoming the diamond from, the lump of coal or just the carbon matter. And it really is that we wouldn't be able to be the Queen of Wands and understand how to use our magic wand if we hadn't had to go through this period of pressure. And this is where we get to learn through direct experience with our external environment. We get to actually, through the hardships and challenges faced, we get to understand our true power, our true capabilities. Think of Harry Potter. All of those books can be summed up into one little thing of Harry realizing his own magic potential through going through one difficult challenge over another. This is where we become the hero in our own story. And when we have get grounded, and it says empaths, highly sensitive, connect with nature. Now, Scorpios, you guys are highly sensitive. You're highly intuitive signs. You're signs that can dive deep into the emotional realm. That is your superpower as a Scorpio. But sometimes you can get so down. You go a little too deep. And so there's this element of kind of get grounded and to line up with this solid, stable foundation, to almost to be able to pull yourself up out of this emotional depth, to get back to what's here and now. Because what can happen is we can actually, it's just like going too far into our own thoughts. We can go into this place where we go down this what if train, and we actually, through our own imagination, create and manifest this crazy negative experience that has no physical relevance. And the same thing can happen when we go too far into our emotions, where we're feeling everything so deeply, and yet we realize, but is that really existing here? When I go out into nature, is nature really reflecting, when I go out and step out into a beautiful sunny day and I connect with the animals and I connect with just life living as it does and everything in its place, does what all of this anxiety and fear and worry, does this actually exist outside of me? And the beautiful realization is that no, it doesn't. You can pull yourself up from the depth and be able to come back to here and step out from under the water to be able to come back out onto land to use your wand. And that's kind of, I'm getting a little like Little Mermaid feeling here too. It's almost like coming up from the depths here and coming out onto land and being able to see everything, or like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, coming out and seeing everything in Technicolor. And it's like, oh, I've been here for so long, but I've been here through my own making, a part of my own making. Yes, I've had to go through real challenges, but a part of this was me going into myself. And now I see that the me really is the power that I hold in what I can do and create in my tangible environment. Okay, Scorpio, I'm going to go ahead and just pull a couple additional clarifier cards for your energy and the energy for your external environment, just to see if any other messages want to come out. This is such a great reading. I absolutely love it. I think all of you guys must be going through some very, just like eye-opening times right now. So we have, for the Ace of Wands, we have the Three of Coins and the Queen of Coins. Beautiful. This is the start of building in the tangible world with others. And then we have the Queen of Coins, and she is the one who nurtures. She's the one who knows what, she's basically taking this coin that the magician has, she's taking her coin, and she's putting all of her time and energy and money. She knows which coin is hers, and she knows which seed to plant and nurture. And these two together are showing me almost that you can use this spark of passion. It's almost like the spark of life, right? This is the eternal flame. And in order to help a seed grow, it's almost like it needs that touch. That like, now you're alive. And there's this beautiful energy here of rebuilding, of when you look at the Four of Pentacles, we're going down to the Three of Pentacles. The coins are pentacles in this deck. And so there's this element of going one step further back to reevaluate before you invest anything else, before you become the Queen of Coins, to go back to evaluate, what are you building? What do you want to create with your Ace of Wands? And the Three of Coins is really about building with others. So there is this component here of really allowing others to come in, that you don't have to be so controlled and hostile towards, again, what's going on externally through other people, and to really just focus in on what do I want to build for myself and who's going to come in to support me and build with me. And that's going to give you a clear idea as to where then you can really step in and say, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to nurture it. I'm going to put my time and energy here. I'm going to be confident that I can move from this stable place and really be able to grow something from this very stable, focused attention to it. You're coming out of your emotions and into the physical world. That's really what I'm seeing here. There's this element of coming back to the physical, coming back to what is, coming back to your power to be able to manifest here. Okay, let's see if there's anything that wants to come out for the Magician. Any additional messages for Scorpio and the Magician? The Hanged Man. Interesting. Let's see if anything else wants to come out. Any other clarifiers for the Magician? Okay, looks like we're just going to keep it there. All right, so the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is a card of a change in perspective. It's a forced pause. And I really think it's interesting because these two cards, they almost mirror each other in a way. It's almost like he's the reverse of him. And there is this quality here of that touch from the divine that you're going to be with full faith walking out to engage with is going to give you a change in perspective. Because that's what the Hanged Man is all about. It's a forced change in perspective that is orchestrated by the divine. And so there's going to be something here that when you come back out with this, with your wand again, and from this seat of personal power, with this knowledge of how far you've come and what you're truly capable of, that when you come back out here, you're going to see something in a new light. You're going to see an aspect, I believe, of yourself or your external environment that you hadn't seen before. I really do want to get one more. Let me see if I can get one more clarifier. Let's see if anything else. Now I'm intrigued, Scorpio. What is it? What are you going to see? What's going to be illuminated for you? And I know it'll be different for all of you, obviously. But we have the Six of Wands. Okay, beautiful. Love this card. Six of Wands is a card represented by Leo, the sign of Leo. There's an element of, again, pride coming through. This is where you're celebrated, for working with your passions, where you get a chance for others to celebrate with you. And I think that that's what you're going, that's the change in perspective that you're going to see, is that, oh, it's not that I have to hide this part and defend this part of myself and protect this part of myself. It's that I can go out and share this part of myself and be celebrated for it. And that this is what's going to lead to me feeling that level of success. All right, Scorpio, I hope this has been illuminating. I hope it allows you to really have an awesome rest of your July. And I really hope it also helps re-engage you with the magic that lies within yourself. All right, if you'd like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. And I look forward to seeing you all in August for your spiritual connection reading. Bye, Scorpio.